I'm Kamala Ganesh from the University of Mumbai. Sir, you talked about the difficulties of governing a country like India with its many diversities of language, ethnicities and so on, and how the Singapore model really can't work there. But we have survived and flourished as a nation for the last 64 years. With all those diversities, we have somehow managed to maintain our borders and sovereignty and so on. You are known for having exploited Singapore's particular location and particular advantages. You have leveraged it from a third world to a first world country. If you were at the helm of affairs in India today, how would you use the existing situation, the chaos, the diversity? How would you play with it to move it somewhere else?
They're still wanting to find a solution for India.
First, what sort of Indian will I be? A northern Indian? A southern Indian? Because that identifies you with the interests of a particular group. Or a Bombay Indian, which is the most cosmopolitan of all. But it may well be that a Bombay Indian doesn't represent any Indians at all. So it's a problem which India has to face. As I said, it springs from the British concept of India. It was a concept which they brought to reality by railways, but it has not overcome the nationality and the ethnic and the language differences. So it is important whoever leads India should find acceptance amongst the widest group of Indians possible. But I think it's very difficult for any Indian leader to find more than 40% of Indians believing that he represents them. If he comes from the north, the northern Hindi-speaking, Punjabi-speaking may support him, or Gujarati-speaking. If he comes from the south, it's even worse. The Madrasi or the Telugu-speaking will support him, but that's it. So it is a problem. It's a structural problem which cannot be easily overcome. You compare that with China, the leader stands up, speaks in Chinese. There are different dialect accents throughout China, but they have the same written language, the same written script, and everybody understands it. And this sense of national identity.
Okay, I see a gentleman over there. I'll come to you, Ifti, immediately after the gentleman behind you. Your next, Ifti.
My name is Suresh Kumar from Emirates MBD, Dubai. Mr. Lee, you visited Dubai a few years back, I think a few times. This concept of city-states, be it Singapore, Dubai, Hong Kong, and possibly, as you mentioned, Mumbai and possibly Shanghai. Do you see a concept of cities of these nature, cosmopolitan cities, being the catalysts or elements of change in larger neighborhood, larger regions, countries? How do you see that a city can perhaps be a dynamo for changing some of these language barriers, etc.? All of them exist in cities, but somehow leadership overcomes them.
I think cities cannot change countries. Countries create cities. But for a city to change a country, it needs a powerful leader that can appeal across national, linguistic, and ethnic lines. I don't think I'm devaluing Manmohan Singh's integrity and ability, but I would seriously doubt whether he has the same appeal for the South Indian as he would have for the Northern Indian. That's a reality that has to be faced all the time.
Okay. Ambassador Iftikhar Chowdhury, and then I'll come to this side. I see some hands here.
I come from non-Indian South Asia, which that is Bangladesh. It's a country of, as you know, 160 million people, and rapidly transforming itself. We've heard over the last 2 days how, in terms of growth, 6% over the last few years, women's empowerment, poverty alleviation. And in that country, there is tremendous admiration for you, sir, and the Singapore paradigm. I've heard you say to Charlie Rose, and you've said today also this afternoon, that you've used the English language as a tool for change. We have that in common between Singapore and Bangladesh. But the problem, of course, in Bangladesh is that the language competes with a very strong local cultural heritage, including the local language. So, sir, what would be your advice to us? Should we seek a balance between the two, or should we opt preponderantly for the English language as a tool for change in the future?
I don't think you can change the language of a whole country. You might get an English-speaking elite in Bangladesh of, say, 5%, or at most 8%, and that 8% can't change the rest of the 92%. So it's not possible for the elite, which is educated in a different language, to change the language of the majority. Now, what we have done in Singapore is to turn the equation the other way around. We are using English as our first language, and we teach our mother tongues as our second language. So everybody, Chinese, Indians, Malays, whatever, compete on a level playing field. It's a language foreign to every one of them, so nobody can claim that he has an advantage. But at the same time, for reasons of keeping your roots, your sense of history, your sense of identity, we teach as much of the second language as they can cope. And you come from Bangladesh and you know how difficult it is to get the English language accepted by more than, say, 5-7% of the population. To reverse that and make everybody speak English and learn Bangladeshi or Bengali as a second language is an impossibility. We did it because we were a small country, and we did it gradually over a period of 50 years. Not by coercion, because that would not have worked. We allowed the market to settle the problem. We had English schools teaching mother tongues as a second language. We had mother tongue schools teaching English as a second language. And the marketplace decided that if you learn English as a first language, you got the better jobs. So parents moved their children from native language schools using English as a second language to English language schools using native languages as a second language. And that's how it was done. Not by edict, not by order of the government, not by legislation, but by allowing the marketplace to influence the choice of parents and students. You can't do that for Bangladesh. 90+% speak Bengali, and you can't suddenly make them speak English. You are imprisoned by your history. Well, imprisoned may be the wrong word. You are a captive of your history, and you cannot break out of it without a severe loss of sense of self and identity.